Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I wanted to make a quick video on why saving fiat money is a myth. All right. Why this is the case for Bitcoin, right? This is the longer term case for Bitcoin. And I'm excited to make this video, man. So let's jump on into it. If you like today's video, make sure you press that subscribe button. All right. So first of all, saving fiat money is a myth, right? So when you're first born, what does your grandma tell you, right? Your grandma tells you, hey, Jordan, make sure you save that money, right? Make sure you save that whatever country you're in, right? We'll talk about the dollar since we're in America, right? Grandma's always telling you to save that money in the bank, right? Save that money so you can buy a house. Save that money so you can buy a car. Save that money so you can take your girlfriend out to dinner, right? Things like that. But why is this a myth? Well, it's a myth because governments will keep printing unlimited fiat, right? They will keep the money printer on whenever things go bad. And this is where the issue with fiat comes in, all right? So you see grandma down there, right? She's counting her money. But is that money going to keep its value in the long term, right? Short term, you might be better in cash sometimes. But in the long term, is that the smart move? Well, let's go to the next slide. This is just one thing, right? The dollar eventually will collapse, right? Now, this is probably not going to happen imminently, right? So don't go panicking and like crazy. This is a slow, gradual process. But I think what Bitcoin is, and I think there's a lot of confusion on maybe what Bitcoin is it a currency where you're going to be, doing transactions at a grocery store? I don't think so, right? What I think Bitcoin is it's the digital gold, right? And as people get more and more and more digital, right, as the younger generation comes up, right, they're constantly playing video games on the computer, on their phone, on social media. The world is going more digital, right? And I think this is one thing that older people don't understand when it comes to the digital world, whether it's social media, cryptocurrency, video games, metaverses, AI, stuff like that, right? These are the new technologies that are going to change the world. And a lot of older people, I don't want to say boomers, but they don't quite understand this yet, right? They're stuck in their ways. Just like when we're older, we'll probably be stuck in our ways for something, right? But what Bitcoin, I think it is, it's protection against the de-dollarization from other countries, right? You're constantly seeing countries trying to go away from the dollar, which puts pressure on the dollar, right? And when you combine that with when we go through tough times, unlimited dollar printing, right? So you're constantly seeing the money supply go up, all right? So if you take a look at the chart that we have right here, what you'll notice is really since this chart just shows from 1981, but this blue line is the M2 money supply, right? So the US money supply. This basically just shows us it's up in a straight line, right? Since 1981, this was at about 1.14 trillion, and now it is at 21 trillion, right? So the money supply has grown by 21 times in the last 40 years. And I think this is going to continue, and I think it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Picture it like this, kind of like an altcoin that has an inflation rate of 20% per year, right? What's that going to do to price over time? It's probably going to go down, right? If you get lower demand over time, right? Countries are going away from you. You're going to have lower demand. And if you constantly keep dollar printing, you're going to eventually have an issue. We haven't had that issue yet, but eventually that could be the time. And we also have, right, during tough times, what happens? Right? We have an economy that's propped up by money printing, right? So whenever we have an issue, right? 2008, 2000, 2020, we just print money up the wazoo, right? We just want to turn that money printer on to save the day. This is eventually going to bite us in the butt. It's a longer term play. And that's ultimately what Bitcoin was created for, right? To get away from the banks. So when there's big collapse that happens, we're not stuck in a bank where they're just going to print money and make the fiat even more worthless than it is, right? It's a protection against that with a limited supply. All right, so let's go to the next one. So a lot of people say, okay, but why Bitcoin, right? Why Bitcoin? I can just put money in the stock market, right? I can just put my money in the SPX or SPX 500, not the SPX, but the S&P 500, or the Russell, or the Nasdaq, or the Dow Jones. Well, you can do that, right? And I think it's fine to do that as long as you're very confident that we're going to continue into a long-term bull market, right? But my argument against that, from like a non-stock picker standpoint, right? If you're picking like really good stocks individually, and you're really good at picking individual stocks, and you're playing the sort of rotations, right? Right now, obviously AI, Nvidia's been one that you wanted to hold, right? Tesla might be a good one to hold in the future. These companies that are going towards the AI space and the future technologies are the ones that have performed well, right? But other than that, a lot of stocks haven't been doing too well, right? This is the SPX versus the M2 money supply since 1991, and what you'll notice is if you do the SPX versus the dollar, what you'll notice is it's up in a straight line, right? Up in a straight line, it looks really, really good. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is if they keep printing money, that money has to go somewhere. So those index gains are a myth. If you actually look since 2000, the SPX is actually down, right? It's actually down from its 2000 high. If you actually look at 2008, it's barely above the 2008 collapse, right? So basically what this says is since 2000, if you've had your money in the stock market since the late 90s, you really haven't made anything, and you've actually lost because of currency debasement. Now remember, this is all long-term stuff, right? Short-term, you're going to make money in the stock market if you're in a bull market, but this is long-term outlook thinking for investors. And what you'll notice is you haven't really made anything in the stock market in the past 20 years, right? Obviously, if you take from the 2008 low, right, you're going to be doing pretty good, right? You're going to be doing pretty good. But what happens when there is another big collapse, right? A 2001, a COVID crash, and this drops back down. You're going to be right back where you started, right? So this is the Russell, right? So this is low cap stocks. This is taking out all the Apples and the Nvidias and the Googles and the Amazons, right? What do you notice? You'll notice that, well, the Russell hasn't gone anywhere in the past 25 years. So you've literally made nothing. It's a stable coin, right? But if you look at the dollar value chart, it's up in a straight line. So I think what this tells me is a lot of the stuff that we were told when we were younger is sort of a myth, right? You see your assets go up in dollar terms, but they're really not going up because the prices of everything are going up to match those assets, right? So if your plan is to just keep up with inflation, the stock market's the way to go, right? You're going to at least get a stable coin against the dollar, right? Low cap stocks have not moved up at all against the dollar in the past 25 years, despite us being in what is considered one of the most bullish times in the U.S. history, right? What happens if we go in a time that's not bullish? Take that, right? Next slide. So what do you want to be? What do you want to be in, right? What do you want to be in? To me, you want to be in the fastest horse, right? You want to be in that fastest horse, which is BTC, right? So obviously we can take from different points, right? I took from the COVID low. Why did I take from the COVID low? Because that's when we started printing crazy fiat. That's when the world was going through a tough time, right? And then the government started printing fiat, and people chose where to put their money, right? And if you look at from that COVID low, right? And so a lot of people like to say, well, Bitcoin's not an inflation hedge because it has massive bear markets when the stock market's doing bad, and that's correct, right? Bitcoin does have massive bear markets when the stock market doesn't do well. But what you have to understand is Bitcoin's gonna perform bad when there are stock market bear markets, but when the money printer comes on, basically Bitcoin is a hedge when there is money printing, right? And Bitcoin's gonna greatly outpace stocks and gold when that happens, and it's going to offset any of the bear market stuff that happens, right? So this is from the COVID lows. We can take from the FTX lows. It's the same point, right? Bitcoin's up significantly more than the SPX and gold. You can see that Bitcoin's up 700% since the COVID lows. The S&P, which has been at all-time highs, right, is still only up 106%, right? And gold, which everyone's been clamoring about, is only up 61%, right? And if you actually take the money printing, that means gold is actually down, right? Is actually down against the M2 money supply. And the SPX technically also is a little bit above break even against the M2 money supply, while Bitcoin is significantly above the M2 money supply. So a lot of people like to say, okay, you know, when we went in that 2021 to 2022 bear market, right? Bitcoin's not really moving up. It should be moving up if it's inflation hedge. That's not true, right? Bitcoin's going to move down when we go through rate height cycles, and it's going to do all that stuff just like other assets do. The difference is when we hit a tough time and when the market starts moving up, Bitcoin is going to greatly outpace everything else because it is a limited supply asset and it is the digital gold as we go into the digital economy. All right. So what's the verdict here, right? What is the verdict? What can we take away from this? Well, you know, kind of like we've been talking about, right? Bitcoin's limited supply dynamics, all right, where you have miners that are just mining Bitcoin every day, right? Eventually going to hit that 21 million cap, all right? Plus the unlimited fiat printing of not only the US, but many, many other countries, all right, equals the perfect debasement hedge, right? That's what I think Bitcoin is. I think Bitcoin is a currency debasement hedge. It's not a currency, right? I wouldn't consider Bitcoin a currency. It's more of a digital gold. It's a debasement hedge when the governments are printing unlimited fiat, right? And I think when you also combine this, and this is one thing that people don't take into account, is that the younger generation is becoming more digital, right? We're entering the digital age. If not, we're already in the digital age. I would argue it's going to get even more digital as we get more AI, as basically technology is a parabolic curve. So as we go along, people are going to get more and more and more technology reliant, right? And that's what Bitcoin is, right? That's what cryptocurrency is. It's in that realm of the digital age, right? As time goes on, the younger generation that is more tech savvy is beginning to get older and older and older, right? The boomers who don't really understand technology, or some of them do, but the general population doesn't really understand technology, they're going to eventually go away and be replaced by the generation that understands technology. And I think a lot of people don't take that into account when we get into future technologies like Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff like that. I'll make a future video on why I'm bullish on Ethereum. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, why I'm bullish on Ethereum. But basically, I think, and you also combine that with Bitcoin will eventually be a part of everyone's portfolio as we have the launch of the ETFs this year. And you can see that there has been a outwelling success of, $60 billion in Bitcoin already being held by asset managers in the first 6 months of the ETF launch. No one believed that was going to be that much. That even blew everyone's socks off. Even though people were bullish on it, no one thought it was going to be this big, this fast, right? But BlackRock holding over 322,000 Bitcoin, Fidelity 178,000 Bitcoin, and eventually, right, you've already kind of seen it, is Bitcoin is going to be included in a lot of these fund managers' regular portfolios, right? So if someone buys BlackRock's portfolio, maybe 1% of that goes into Bitcoin, right? And it's going to be a compounding effect over time, right? Remember, this is a long-term view. This is not a short-term view. If Bitcoin pulls back 10%, 20% from here, remember, this is a long-term outlook, right? But I think there's a lot of good things for Bitcoin that we could continue to talk about, right? But I just basically, besides the whole Trump and pro crypto and vice president and all that stuff, I wanted to make a quick video on basically why I'm bullish on BTC, right? Why I'm bullish on BTC for the long term, and a lot of it has to do with what is debasement, what is monetary debasement, and we can go throughout history and look at all these examples, right? Real world examples: the Roman Empire, right? The Ottoman Empire, right? The Weimar Republic, right? Debasement in the modern era, right? We've seen many countries: Venezuela, El Salvador, massive inflation. You see it throughout history, right? And people don't think it's going to happen again. It will eventually happen again. And this is why I am super bullish on Bitcoin for the long term. It's a long-term outlook, and I will continue to stack Bitcoin on dips, not on pumps, on dips. But yeah, I had fun making this video and fun making the slideshow. If you guys want to see more videos like this, where I talk more about the fundamentals, because I do think that crypto is going in this weird route where like people are starting not to believe in the fundamentals, and I think that has to do with the altcoin market. But I think it's important to continue to look at the fundamentals and why we are bullish on maybe Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum and maybe some altcoins that you believe in, but why I still believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and kind of go away from the whole nonsense of, I just want price to go up and then sell, which is great, right? Obviously, that's part of it, right? We use Bitcoin, right, as an inflation hedge to make sure that we keep our wealth. Obviously, that's a part of it, but why we believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, right? I think it's important to continue to talk about that. So if you like today's video, leave a like. I'll make more of these. Maybe tomorrow I will make a video on. A lot of people might disagree with this, but what's my bullish case on Ethereum that also has to do with this Bitcoin? I think Ethereum's a different play, right? Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow, but leave a like if you like these videos. Leave a comment. Let me know if you like these type of videos, and I'll make some more of these videos because I love talking about this stuff, man. All right, so peace out. Much love. See you guys in the next one. See ya.